clear, copy, count, extend, index, insert, pop, remove, reverse, and sort. These are the only methods which are available in list container class. You don't have find. Find was there in string. Right? So the next thing is we saw tuple, and tuple is parenthesis. It becomes a immutable collection. You cannot modify it. You want your database to be a particular record to be modified, then you better use a tuple. So here you can say there is no copy method. There is no, you cannot delete. You cannot update. We saw that it gives you error. All you can do is you can just use index slicing operator on. And you have got only two functions, count and index. These are the only two functions that are available on tuple. The next thing what we saw is list of lists. Right? So list of lists will allow you to perform all the four operations. We saw how to access, how to update, how to delete, how to insert, or how to append. So you can use all the functionality, whatever you can use it on this. It works absolutely fine. And if you create a tuple of lists, right, then tuple is immutable, obviously, but list is mutable. So within that, you can modify, you can update, you can perform update operation on records, but the database cannot be. We saw that thing. The next thing what we saw is tuple of tuples, which is again everything is read only and a tuple of. Normally it is a list of tuples. Normally your functions, which are built-in functions, they return a list of tuples. So then next thing what we saw is 10. This is an integer. This is a list. This is a tuple. This is a integers. If you want to have a tuple with one value, writing comma operator is mandatory. Okay, because it is comma operator which has got a special meaning in Python, which will create a tuple for you. It's not parenthesis. Okay, so normally it is good to put parenthesis. So if you are just saying 10, 20, 50, tuple. Then what we saw is curly braces will create a dictionary. It's an empty dictionary. And within curly braces, if you put any value, it becomes a set. And if you want to create an empty set, then you can use set. We also saw how to create a dictionary with a key and a value. So key can be any data type, value can be any. So here we created a tuple, and what we saw is instead of a lot of people say NSE of 0, NSE of 1, NSE of 2. So normally when you read the entire record, they use subscript operator on. But if you use using multiple variable assignment to unpack the values from the collection, then you can make your code much easy to read. Because now you can say company, employee ID, salary, rather than saying what? NSE of 0, NSE of. So if you use tuple unpacking, that is greatly going to increase the readability of your code. Okay. So the next thing what we saw is how a function actually doesn't return multiple values. Actually, it is a single object which can be unpacked. We saw how it works in the rest of the languages, right? Rest of the languages, it will return the rightmost argument. Then we saw dir on dict, and dir on dict will show you all the functions which can be used on a dictionary. Right? The reason why we use dictionary is searching is much faster. It is big of 1. Searching in case of list or a tuple is big of n. N in the sense depending upon total number of elements in your tuple or within your list. Taking consideration about the worst case scenario. Worst case is I'm trying to do search and the search is happening at the last element. So obviously you're doing search, right? See, it's your wish. You can use a list or a tuple, or it's all up to what kind of operations you are performing. So normally people go ahead with dictionaries. Searching and is much faster because it goes with key value. In case of list or tuple, if you're doing insertion and deletion, of course there are methods, right? Insert, pop, remove, and you have to write code for it. But when you talk about performance, in case of performance, you'll get better performance with dictionary. Okay, so that is the reason why you should go ahead with the dictionary. So then what we saw is we saw that you have keys, there are no indexes. The problem was with indexes. So here you have a concept of keys and values. So those keys are given as input to hash function. The hash function, the logic of the hash function is written in such a way that every time it creates a unique, location, which will help you up to store the value. So internally, you don't have to, write logic, but that is how a hash table works, or you call it as a DB. So here, uh, key has to be unique. Key can be any data type, but it has to be unique. You cannot have duplicate keys. Values, you can have duplicate values, no issues. Then we saw how to perform these four basic CRUD operations on dictionary. In case of dictionary, you can see key can be any data type, value can be any data type, and there are two ways in which you can access values from dictionaries. Because finally, it is why you use keys only to store values. So keys are not important, but values are important. Okay. So uh, to access values into subscript, you will have to pass keys. Either you can pass keys or you can use get method. Prefer using get over subscript, because if that key is not present, it goes key error, right? So you'll have to write try and accept. So if you want to avoid that, then better go ahead with get, because get will return none in case if the key is not present. It won't give any problems. And then how to add. Now we also discussed there is no add, there is no insert, there is no append. So you'll say, boss, how will I add? And why? We also discussed why there is no append insert, because very will it append? It's an unordered collection, right? So append is at the end. So obviously there is no insert or append or add inside a dictionary. So here we all have to do is you put a key which is not present with the corresponding value, and the key and value gets added in the dictionary. Correct? We also saw if the key is already present, the value gets updated. Correct? So this is how you can add and update a dictionary. Also, we saw pop and pop item. Pop is going to pop the value from the dictionary. There is no remove. Okay. And pop item is also going to do the same thing. The only thing is this returns a tuple and this returns a single value. So if you want to display which value is being taken out from the database or dictionary, you can just use pop. And if you want to show both, then you can use pop item. So the next thing what we saw is three important functions, which are keys, values, and items. Okay. So if you want to only get work on keys, then say dot keys, that will return a list of only keys. And if you say dot values, it will return a list of, and what dot items will do? Items will return a list of tuples with key as well as value. So this, right? So you can see, you can observe the third line. The third line is inside square bracket, there is parenthesis. So it's a list of tuples with a key and a value. Today we'll also see how to unpack those values using. So these are some, and finally we saw dot update. Dot update is to add key value pairs of one dictionary to. All you can say is dictionary one dot update and pass dictionary two as a. So I hope it is nice and easy, right? So the next thing what we'll see is print dir of baked, and we'll see few more functions which. So dot clear is okay, and we'll see set default. Okay. We have seen rest of the things. Update also we have seen. So from keys and set default. So from keys is handy in case if you want to create a dictionary with only keys, no values, right? Values you can take it later on. Let the user give some values from form, and then those values which are given by the user from form, and you can create a dictionary. So if you want to create a dictionary based on a collection, you can use. Let us see how to use from keys. So here I have a collection called as jersey, or I'll just say players. Players equal to Sachin, Sehwag, and Virat. and I want to say dict dot from keys. I'll pass players as a argument. This will create Dream11. Dream11. Print Dream11. And now you can see it has created Sachin none, Sehwag none, Virat none. So when you say dict dot from keys, you are calling from keys methods of dictionary and you are passing a collection. Okay, you are passing list as an argument. And what it is returning, you can observe that the value is none. And later on, we already discussed yesterday only how to update the value. So none you can easily update. Na? So put the key equal to value. So here, if you want to put values, like I'll say players of Sachin equal to 10. Print Dream11. What is that? Sorry, it should be Dream11. Now you can see Sachin colon 10, Sehwag 99, Virat 18. So this is how you can use from keys. Also, you can use set default here only. I will just show. If I want to add a key which is not present, I'll say Dream11 of is equal to 333. Okay, and then print Dream11. You can see Gale is getting added. And if you want to use set default is what? I can say Dream11 dot set default, and I will pass Gale as the argument. Three three three. So here I'm just using set default, or I'll just put some other value. Key I'll put it as, and I will put it as 100. You see, it is not doing update. If I would have not used set default, correct? If I would have not used set default, and if I would have put a key, then the value would have been updated. But what set default is doing? Set default is ensuring that the value doesn't get updated if the key is already present. So here, I'll just show you the same thing again. I'll use set default again to observe the thing, and I'm trying to give 200. And if I give 200, this won't be 200. It will be 333. This 333. The dictionary is not getting changed. Correct? And suppose if you don't do, even if you don't do it like this, and if you run it like this, you see first value which is 100, that is getting added. So 200 won't get added. So with set default, you can add a key and a value also. That is one more way to add values inside dictionary, and see to it that that doesn't get updated if the key is already present. That method you can use.
Here we converted list into dictionary, right?
Yes, we created. We didn't convert a list into dictionary. I created a dictionary with only keys.
Only keys.
Yes.
So when we are talking about the big O notation, list is something like a big O end, right?
Yes,
And
absolutely.
dictionary
Right.
is big O one.
That is when it comes to searching.
Searching.
Searching or insertion or deletion.
So in list, I cannot convert that list into dictionary.
Of course, you can do that.
But
That's what I did now.
value is always none, right?
Values will
Value
be
is always
none.
none. Key
Why?
cannot be
Because I'm
replaced.
creating it only based on keys.
So key cannot be replaced.
Of
In
course,
list-
key cannot be
In
replaced.
list, I will be searching that value element.
Correct.
In
Absolutely.
dictionary, I will be searching for that key value pair.
Yes.
So if I am not able to convert the list into dictionary with proper value, then how can we compare the big O notation with the list and dictionary?
Big O notation is for searching and this now. See, once if you create a dictionary, why
It's not a replacement of, like when we are talking about the big notation, we cannot compare that list and dictionary, right? Because we are not getting that value in dictionary. We are only getting keys, unique keys.
Yes. Yes, absolutely right. What you are saying is, but then I'm updating the dictionary later on.
Yeah, you are.
Once you update the dictionary, you will get the performance. See, dictionary is obviously good. This has nothing to do with list because I'm just using list to create a dictionary. That's it. So if you talk about performance, you are only creating a dictionary, right? So searching, sorting, much better.
Yeah, but the issue will be still there only, no? Because still I am searching for that particular index value. Means, but based on that index, I am searching for that value. Element.
So based on keys.
Right.
Based on keys, I'll be doing the search.
Based on keys.
Yes, because it's a dictionary. Look, dot from keys is going to just help you out to create a dictionary, empty dictionary. Only based on keys. So it's a process of creating a dictionary.
But why I couldn't assign the value? Like the error you have got in
Which one?
the where you have defined the dictionary, only the keys.
There is no error.
There was error when you are assigning value to the initial dictionary layers.
Look, step number one is what? This is a simple list. And
Yes.
I want to use these as keys. Maybe you are reading, some database, some primary keys, and then you want to insert records. So maybe you can fetch it inside a list, and then dig dot from keys. You are just passing either a list or a tuple. That doesn't matter. This is going to create a dictionary for you. Here, Dream 11 is dictionary. So here you see this has created a dictionary with only keys. And after you have created a dictionary with only keys, these 3 lines are helping you to update the dictionary. After the dictionary is created, you are just updating the values. And to update the values, either you can use this or you can use set default. With set default also you can do that.
But if I want to add values to the list,
This one, dot insert, dot append,
okay,
those things will work.
okay.
Same thing, right? So you can update this also, no problem.
And
Then-
if I update, the dictionary will be automatically updated.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. If you update the list, the dictionary also gets auto, but values will be none. The rest of the value you'll have to update it like this or use set default.
Can we also take it as input
What dictionary?
values?
Dictionary you are saying.
No. In dictionary, we have taken
You can take input.
the
You
keys.
can say input.
The value for
Yes,
that
yes,
key.
Input you can take, and whatever input you take, convert it into integer or whatever type, and then you'll have to do this. So input will work absolutely fine. But see to it that input will always take string. You'll have to use that conversion function, convert it into the right data type, and then you update it inside dictionary. It will work.
It has to be converted as integer.
In case if you want, if the values can be any data type, na.
Yeah.
So whatever, even if you put a complex class number, that you'll have to say complex, into bracket input, then it becomes a complex class object, which you can assign it to dictionary. So dictionary can hold heterogeneous elements. Any type of value you can put. No restrictions.
Can you explain set default again, please?
So set default is what? Default is going to put a key and a value. See, I commented this, and then you observe Gale and 100 got added na, with set default. So either I can, create a dictionary like this and update it. But if you want key and value both to be added into dictionary, you can do it with set default. But second time if you do this, it won't be updated. See, 200 is not getting updated. So that is the thing that you can do with set default. But with this, if the key is already present, the value gets updated. With set default, that doesn't happen. With set default, you can see whatever is the key with the same value works.
And we change the replacing the
100
Uh,
with
then
400
you'll have to use
given.
this one.
Yeah,
You want
this
to
one.
replace it.
Out, I have replaced the value 100 with 400. I just
Hmm.
replaced the value.
Hmm.
But it's still showing the 100.
Ah,
Once the store is stored,
stored.
we have to
Inside.
manually update like above.
Yes, above, absolutely right. Right? So this is about a dictionary. Now you can also nest dictionaries. Within a dictionary, you can create one more dictionary. Like I can say Sensex is equal to curly braces, and within curly braces, see, I can say HDFC 1400, comma, Electra, colon, 1500, Sun Pharma, colon, 1800. And then if I say print, I want to search. So this will be Sensex of HDFC. And you will see I'm able to get the corresponding value. Now, inside this, you can create any other collection. Value can be any type. So here you can nest that dictionary if you want. Like I want current price, high price and low price. So here I'll put curly braces. I'll say current price, colon, comma, high price is 1500 and comma, low price is 1300. Curly braces complete. Done. I'll just copy paste this and change the value.
पोराला काय शिकवलं पाहिजे
See, I'll just say what print Sensex of HDFC, and I'll say today's. And you can see I'm getting the record. If I would have said Sensex, it would have printed the entire dictionary, just like how we use in the entire. So please understand this. Same thing again. I'm just saying Sensex. The data type is it's a dictionary of dictionaries. So it is going to print this. And if you want to unpack this curly braces, then put a subscript. If you put a subscript, you are unpacking the collection. Don't forget this. Then if you put the key, you will get this record. Now within this, if you want to unpack the second curly braces, then you'll have to put one more square bracket. If you put one more square bracket, the second curly braces will also go out. So if you want to take out this value, then what you'll have to do, put one more subscript and put the key. If you put the key, you will get the corresponding value. Correct? So here, so I'll say today's high price of Sun Pharma is, I want to take out 2000 out. So here I'll say today's high price of Sun Pharma is of Sun Pharma of high. You can see 2000 is taken out. Likewise, you can use subscript. Very easy. All you need to do is put a key, and within that, if you have one more dictionary, put a key. Within that, if you have a list, use subscript and index. So it depends how the collection is created.
That space does not give any error.
Which space you're saying?
In the first collection, Sun Pharma, there is a space.
No problem. Spaces are intact. If you give a space, there is no problem.
Because above there is a space.
There's no oh, just a minute, just a minute. What? Oh, just a minute. Where? What did I do?
In the
Okay,
first
this-
line, Sensex.
This is garbage collection, no?
uh,
This is
there,
lost.
there was a space, so that is overwritten by the
Mhm.
loan.
No, it says key error. Just a minute, just a minute. Key
Last
con-
line,
इधर पे है वो problem.
Last
ये
line.
देखो ये वाला.
हाँ,
There also you should put it na space. Now it is working fine. So don't forget about this. ये garbage collection होता है यहाँ पे. You already have a Sensex. This reference was there. This was the dictionary. And then what you did after this again you use the same reference. So what happened to this? It is lost. So you cannot use this one. So this is about dictionaries. The next thing what we'll see is set. So what is set? Set is used in data science or data. Normally people who are into data science or data analysis may go ahead with using set. It is not necessary to use set, but the advantage of using set is you don't have to do comparison. Look, normally these three collections what we discussed, list, tuple and dictionary, it is good when you are working on a single data set or single, what you say, database. Data set or database, I don't know how you want to say it. But if you are doing comparison between two or more collections, then set becomes very easy. So ask yourselves, like I have two or more tables. Right? In SQL, we call it as joins. Inner join, outer join, cell join, equi join. So there are different types of join. Basically, you are trying to do comparison between two or more collections. So these kind of things, if you are doing, then set becomes very handy. Because set has got some lovely functions like intersection, difference, symmetric difference. Okay. So specifically, if you are doing that, then go ahead with set. But as I've told you, right, set is having its own advantages, but it also has got its own limitations because set cannot have duplicate values. Set will always have unique values. Okay. And the second thing is set is mutable. Set is mutable collection, but the elements that you put within a set have to be immutable. Set cannot work with mutable elements. Okay. Again, I'll repeat it because it's a bit tricky. See, I'm saying set is mutable. It means you can add elements within set. Whatever operations you perform, it will perform on the same memory location. That is mutable, just like list and dictionaries. List and dictionary both will work on same memory location, right? Whereas if you say tuple or string or whatever collections we saw, those are all immutable collection. So set is mutable, but the element set can have heterogeneous elements. There's no restriction. You can put heterogeneous elements within set, but the elements that you put within the set have to be immutable. So I cannot create a set of sets. I created a dictionary of dictionaries, right? Likewise, I cannot create a set of sets, or I cannot put a what do you say, a list within a set or a dictionary within a set. I cannot put dictionary, list, or set because these three things are mutable, right? So you can put rest of the things, no issues, and it will work absolutely fine. So that is one limitation. The other limitation what you have is in case of set, you can only have unique values. You cannot have duplicate values. So set will only contain unique value. So not necessary, right, that you should use set because the moment when you convert any collection into a set, it is good if you want to remove duplicates. Like you may have a list and within list you may have multiple values and you want to take out all the multiple values in one shot. All you can do is pass it to set conversion function. If you pass it to set conversion function, automatically it will eliminate all duplicate values. But there is a downside. What is downside? Downside is set is unordered collection. When you say unordered, there's no order in which data is inserted. There's no index of, you cannot use index operator like 0, 1, 2. There is no 0, 1, 2. Okay. So because it is unordered collection, the order will never be preserved. So if ask yourselves, is the order important? If the order is important, you have to use list. If you feel, I want to do comparison between two or more data sets, and I want to preserve the order, and I want to, what do you say, I want to preserve the order and I want to do comparison. So then you have to write code. There's no other alternative. But in case if you feel duplicates eliminate can happen, order not that important, then convert your list into a set. Correct? So this is what we'll see. I'll just make a note here. That is unordered collection of unique heterogeneous elements. Elements set is mutable. But the elements within set have to be immutable. So set cannot contain set or dictionary or list because these are, and set can contain int, float, string, none type, complex type, bool type. All these things are immutable. So bool, complex type, or you can also have a tuple if you want. You can add a tuple within a set. So I will say set, I'll just say companies. Companies is equal to Wipro, Infosys, and TCS. And within this, let us put some other things, right? I'll put integer 10, I'll put 4.5 float, I'll put string is already there, I'll put none, I'll put true and false, I'll put a complex class object, 5 plus 6j, and I will put a tuple. Inside this, I have 10, 20, 30. And let us just print companies. And you should be able to see it is order is not preserved. First thing what you have understood is Wipro is not there, true is there. See, the order is completely lost. If I would have used a list and suppose if I put companies.wipro, it is not an error. Companies.add. I'll add it like this. Or your wish how you want to do it. So here I'll just say TCS and I'll put TCS 2 times. And you see TCS is getting added 1 time. So even if you add duplicate elements within set, it is not an error. It is simply ignored. It will only add element 1 time. Correct? So here I'm trying to put it multiple times. There is no syntax error. But if you would have put this into a list, then the order would have been preserved. Correct? And duplicates are also there. And in case if you want to convert this into, companies equal to, I'll say set and I will pass companies. Now what will happen? You are converting list into set. So here you are converting list into set using set conversion function. Now what happened to the list? List is lost, garbage collection. See? And now you are, what are you getting? You're getting duplicates, TCS entry, which was duplicates, it is gone. But order is lost. Correct?
In
Also,
parenthesis 10, 20 and 30, that is
a tuple.
tuple.
And tuple is immutable. So I was able to add it. Let us do one thing. I'll just copy this and I will show you some errors. I'll just put curly braces and within curly braces, I will try to add a set 10, 20. Okay, this is my set within set. And observe the error, what it says. Unhashable type set. Unhashable type set. So I cannot put a set within a set. Tuple was possible, but set within a set is not. Also, observe the other thing what I have made a note, dictionary or list you cannot add. Try to put a list within this 1, 2, 3. And you see, just a minute, did I forget a curly brace?
Yeah.
Curly brace. and the error is unhashable type list, correct? Also, I will try to put a dictionary within set. I'll try to say 15 and 10. And you see, again, it is given you the same error. Unhashable type dict. So you cannot put these collections within a set. Apart from these collections, immutable collection, so you can easily put it within set.
Tuple would work.
Now the question is, why will you ever put true and this? Of course you can do that, but normally people don't do that. Within a set, you can create a tuple or something. That is much better. And tuple is immutable record. So you can put it within a set. So which are the different CRUD operations that we can perform on set? So I'll just go ahead with print dir of set. And let us see which are the functions that you can operate on set. So first, before going ahead with specific functions of set, let us just try to perform CRUD operations. Okay, add, delete, update. So here, identify the function. Is there any function which will help you up to add the element? Identify the function. Add, right? The first one. Here. You can say add. Add method is there, see? And copy is there. See, you can perform deep copy. Okay, not shallow copy. Shallow is also performed deep. Clear is going to clear the contents. Discard is to remove the element from the set. And pop is there and remove is there. That's it. So first we'll go ahead with add, then we'll see pop and remove. Okay. Of course, you cannot do update. How will you update the value within the set? Either you can add or remove it. You won't be able to update because you have immutable types within it. If
But
this was a mutable
Update
type,
is there in the list.
Huh?
Last one in the update.
that update is to add elements of one set into another set. Not one element at a time. If you want to add one element at a time, then add. So we'll see this functions. Copy this companies. Paste it. And here I'll just say companies dot add. And I will add CTS. Okay. Companies dot add question. Print and observe ID of companies. Print is the memory location same? Memory location is same, right? It is not immutable. Of course, immutable है तो add function would have not been provided. But even if add is provided, it is not creating a new object as a new memory location, like string container, right? So it is working on the same memory location. So it means set is mutable, right? And I'm trying to put CTS again. See, no error. There is no error. It is simply ignored. Also observe, order is not preserved. So likewise, you can give add. Next is copy, shallow copy, deep copy. I'll say new companies or IT company is equal to company. Then I'll say companies dot clear. Print IT companies. You should get. So your IT company is shallow copy, right? Deep copy is what? Dot copy. Same concept. Whatever we did on list. Tuple doesn't support dot copy, right? Tuple only allows shallow copy. Correct? So dot copy, dot clear, we have seen works exactly like the rest of the functions. Add is done, clear is done, copy is done. We'll see pop and remove. So here I'll just say IT company dot pop. And what do you want to pop? Now it's amazing if you say pop and without any argument, it takes out any random element. Because there is no first and there is no last. Na? It is unordered collection. That is unordered. There is no order, correct? So how will you pop? Normally when you say pop, it will pop the last element, right? Without any index, or you'll have to specify some index. What I'm saying is set doesn't work with indexes. And then obviously when I say pop, it is going to pop some random element. I don't find it that useful, but sometimes if you want to create uncertainty, right? From that collection you want to take something out. Of course you can use pop. Here I can just say print popped element from set is. Don't expect it to be CTS or TCS. Wait, observe the output. Of course it has popped CTS, the first one. But again, how did it choose? Randomly. Because I never gave any, argument.
If you run it again,
Again.
will it change your?
Of course, I'll have to say kernel, restart and clear output, and let me run it again. Wipro. Wipro is one of my, company, one of the companies which is very close. Emotional bonding. So here,
Can this pop use for a lottery system?
yes, of course.
I guess yes, right? Real time.
Random thing can be. It is just like random function.
And in fact, random sampling as well, right? And how we can use it if we wanted to, let's say from out of 100, we wanted to, let's say 5 random samples. So would that help?
Pop 5 times within a loop.
Okay.
Within a for loop, you can use pop 5 times. Or you can put a menu. Okay. Press this for in case if you want to pop it.
Is there a chance to have a duplicacy? Because
That is the limitation of set.
okay.
If you want duplicate elements, of course you shouldn't use set. So next thing is, what did I do? I just take it out and this is pop and we'll see remove. Remove is much better because with remove you can remove a specific element. Give what is the element you tell and then it will remove. But instead of remove, use discard. Discard is much better than remove. Because with remove you'll have to handle exceptions. With discard, you don't have to handle exception. It is simply ignored. You can say discard. If it is there, it will remove. If it is not there, it won't do anything. It is simply, going to be nice. So I will prefer using discard over remove. So let us go ahead with the remove first. IT company dot remove. Which one should be removed? CTS. And I'll say print IT company. And you see your CTS is gone. Similarly, I'll just go ahead and discard. Discard Infosys. And you can see both are going to do the same thing. Na? Practically, both are working similarly. But the difference is when I'm trying to use discard on Infosys is already gone. And now I'm trying to use discard again. So see, no error, right? If the element is not present. But if I try to say remove something which is already removed, what will happen? You'll have to handle exception. And the error is key error. We'll have to put it into try and accept. That is the difference between remove and discard. So don't use this. Two ways in which you can remove the elements, add the elements, and of course you cannot update. Of course you cannot update. And now the question is, how will you unpack your collection? There is no subscript, correct? I want to take that doashi out. I want to take that curly braces out. Can I put subscript? In list and tuple, we used subscript, correct? The moment when you put subscript, it is unpacking the collection for you. But here you cannot use subscript on a set because it is unordered collection. So in this case, what you can do? How will you take it out? Using for loop. So in case if you want to unpack the collection, you'll have to say something like for company in IT company, colon, print. And you can see TCS and Deutsche both are outside curly braces. Correct? Because why am I using this for loop? Don't worry, we'll see for loops in detail later. If I try to say something like print IT company into bracket 0, see, of course you cannot use 0 and 1. That object is not subscriptable. Subscript you can use it on a dictionary also, but then on dictionary you'll have to put key. You can use subscript on list and tuple, but then you'll have to use indexes. You cannot put subscript on. The only way in which you can unpack your set is using for loop. For loops is very handy. So this is about how to perform CRUD operations on set. Okay, we'll see union and update and all. But CRUD operations are clear, na? Okay, update we'll see, because update is to update one set into another set. So I have got this companies, and I have one more set. Or I'll do one thing. Here only I'll put it, copy paste. 1, 2. And here I'll say IT companies. Print companies dot update IT company. Print. So the return type is none. Don't put it into print. You should be able to get it like this. So update is doing what? Update is adding elements of one set into another, but order is not preserved and duplicates are removed. So that is how your update will work. So the next we'll talk about, we'll see union and all. We'll see why exactly we use set. Right now we only saw how to perform CRUD operation, but why we use set? Not for these reasons. All these reasons are there with, I would have preferred list. I would have preferred list, correct? But we'll see the use case where exactly set can be really handy. That is because these functions are important. Which functions? These functions. You can see is disjoint, is subset, is superset. Okay, your intersection, your union, your difference or symmetric difference, or you also have difference. These functions are very handy because these functions will help you to do comparison between two or more collections. So you have two or more sets, and then you want to check, do you have this record and this. So if you want to do it on two or more collections, these functions will help. Do you have these kind of functions in list? Don't have it, na? Suppose if you have two or more lists, one list is containing players, the other one is Indian players is different, your IPL teams, and then you want to check who are the IPL players who are selected in Indian team. Not all IPL players are selected in playing 11, na? So you have playing 11 list, and you have got a list for IPL, and then you want to do comparison. So in that case, how will you do the comparison? Or you may have one more collection and same player names are there, right? And you want to do comparison between, then you'll have to put a for loop and you'll have to write code for it, right? You take out one element, one record from the collection, and then search whether that thing is there in this collection. If it is there, then add the element inside common elements and all. So you'll have to write code for it now. So instead of writing code for it, you can use these functions. That is going to greatly simplify your code. Agreed? Let us see this practically. Here I'll create a set. I'll create cricketers. Or I'll do one thing. I'll create, say, Indian equal to curly braces. Pratik, comma. Put some batters on this one also. Virat and Rohit should be there. Then put some bowlers as well. Bumrah is not there. Is he being missed?
No.
Yes.
If you are injured, na,
मेरे को लगता है वो अच्छा होगा.
not required next time. Bumrah, see. Then give me some bowlers as well or batters. See,
ये इंडियन पूछ रहे हो.
Indian.
Not पाकिस्तानी.
इंडियन है ना.
ठीक है. Batters.
Very good catch.
Either say Australia. Australia is
Warner.
Maxwell.
Warner.
Warner.
Finch.
Batter and Finch and bowlers. Pat Cummins. And
Hazelwood.
who Brad Hoggy है ना? Who takes Virat Kohli out every time?
Zampa.
Correct. And then West Indies as well. West Indies, I'll go ahead with Russell. Can hit 6. Gale. Hart. None of these are, playing for West Indies anymore. They only play IPL. If these players would have come, they would have lifted the trophy again. But last time they had to buy the jersey. West Indies cricket team, they didn't even, pay for the jersey for players. So none of the players are playing for West Indies. That is the reason they are not even qualified in. But well, great talent, no money. So Russell, Gale, Pollard, and give me some bowler. I'll put Brown.
Sure.
And then I'll put cricketers. Cricketers will have all this cricket. 1. And now I will do comparison. E subset, E superset. So I'll just say print. I'll say Indian dot union of Australia dot union of West Indies. Is it equal to cricketers? True, right? So union is what? Union is combination of all the three, and you are just checking, is it equal? If I say is Indian dot, is it subset of cricketers? True or false? Is cricketers superset of Indian? Is cricketers, is it superset of Indian? Is India and Australia disjoint? Indian. Is it disjoint with Australia? Disjoint in the sense, none of them are common. Yeah, uncommon. And see, and in case if I put sky in Australia, then it will return false. Correct? So even if you have one element, then obviously it is not disjoint. So that is functions, is subset, is superset, is disjoint, union, intersection. Intersection is I have batters. Okay, and I want to check, do you have Indian batters? Only first three batters I will take. And I'll put few more batters from Australia. And these batters from Australia. And I want to check Indian batters. Indian batters. I don't want Bumrah, Ashwin, and that's it. Guy is there. So apart from that, I want rest of them. So I'll say what? Dot intersection. Print Indian dot intersection of batters. This will give you Indian batters.
Intersect करून आणली.
Are you getting Indian batters? That's it. So common records from both data sets. Intersection. I want Ashwin and Bumrah. I want non-batters of India. So non-batters of India is difference. Or I'll say bowlers of India. Instead of saying batters, bowlers, Indian bowlers are. Indian bowlers are. Indian dot difference. Is it giving, why is it giving, oh, Sky, I put it in Australia. No? That is the reason. Where?
Sky you didn't put in batters.
Why I didn't put in batters?
Alien.
Have I lost my mind? If I don't put Sky in batters, big problem. No? Very big problem. So see, now it is showing Ashwin and Bumrah. That's it. So that is difference. Difference is elements which are present in first collection. Elements which are not present in, what do you say? Apart from intersection, show me the elements which are not there in first collection.
Correct.
And if you want both A and B, A as well as B, then you'll have to go ahead with symmetric difference. Symmetric difference will show you what? Ashwin, Sky, and rest of the Russell, Gale, Pollard. Okay. Uncommon elements from both sides. Exactly reverse of intersection.
Pull out or join.
Pull out and join. So that is,
It is XOR, right?
so this is symmetric difference. Symmetric difference. So uncommon elements from both collections. Uncommon items or uncommon players in both collections.
So that is different than outer join and inner join kind of thing, or is it something like similar thing is happening with these functions?
Same thing is happening, na? See here, run this, and you got what? Warner, Russell, Ashwin. Apart from common were who? Rohit, Virat, Hardik, and Sky. Apart from Rohit, Virat, Hardik, and Sky, you are getting Ashwin, Bumrah, and rest of the players. So that is your symmetric difference. Now you will argue.
Is superscript disjoint? Is subset? These all are returning
Boolean value.
Boolean.
Correct, absolutely. You will have to use it with if condition. We'll see if condition. Okay.
Okay. And if we want to take out the which is causing the mismatch, then we need to use symmetric difference.
Symmetric difference. Mismatch from both the collections. Now we'll see how exactly this thing works. See, I'll just copy this two things and I'll paste it here. And you will say intersection wala code, I'll copy this. Only this one. So you one method. Likewise, the rest of the methods are also there. And you saw Indian batters. Correct. I'll just copy this same piece of code and I will put it into a list. Correct. And I want to do the same thing. Intersection I want to, do. But obviously there is no intersection method in list. So this will give you attribute error. Yesterday also we discussed, right? Attribute error is when the function is not implemented on that particular column. So here, what I'll have to do? I'll have to do something like this. For player in Indian, print player, what for loop will do? For loop will unpack your collection. So that square bracket will go out and you'll get all the Indian players. See, you are getting square bracket out and you are getting Hardik, Virat, Rohit. Now what you'll have to do, you'll have to check whether the player that you have, whether it is there in batters or not. If it is there in the batters, then add into common cricketers or common players. So here I'll just say common players is equal to square bracket and I'll say if player in common players, then I will append player to common players. Player common players dot append player. And then you'll have to say what? Print common players. What happened? If player in batters, if player in batters. So you can observe same output you are getting. Huh? Rohit, Virat, Hardik and Sky.
What is the difference between previous code and this code?
That is the reason I'm
Previously-
doing a comparison. See here. Intersection, what is the advantage of curly braces? The curly braces will help you up with these methods, intersection, subset, superset. If I'm not using set, if I'm using a list, and if I want to do something like, intersection.
Similar
or-
to intersection.
Then you have to write this code. Na? I'm saying common players, I'm taking an empty list. I'm taking one player at a time, Hardik, Virat, and then I'm doing if player in. This is in C language, we use code like linear search, binary search. But here Python is so beautiful that they have given you a 2-letter word in, and in is going to do search. There is a for loop within batters. See, when I take Hardik out now, what is this batter? It is a collection. Is it not a collection? So in is actually doing the entire search within the collection. Do you have Hardik here? If the Hardik is there, then append common players. Correct? Take out the next player, Virat and Rohit. And then when you take Bumrah, so I hope you got it, na?
Yeah.
So iteration is what? A for loop. You may be understanding this, but the code will be much easy to read when you implement your own for loop on a collection. When you will have to create your own, user defined class. Then you'll find for loop very interesting. You may be thinking that what is common players? It's a reference actually. It's a reference, and on the reference you have a subscript operator which is being overloaded. Correct?
Yeah, I can understand that code. It's appending to that.
Adding it to the.
Empty list and then
So
performing.
now you'll have to answer 2 questions. Okay, what is the when will you go ahead with set and when will you go ahead with list? If you do the comparison, same output hai, but order is not preserved, na? Order is not preserved. So ask yourselves if the order is, and duplicates, what about duplicates? If you want duplicates, then obviously you'll have to go ahead with lists. So this is about set.
Before writing this code, there was an input to new line. So why that is for a new line, and after this code, it's come with list
Which line you are saying?
output of this same.
Huh?
Yeah. Before writing this
Players.
common players and append players, output was, let's say, in column. Every cricketer has in one line.
That was.
Why that was happen actually?
You just printed out.
What you want me to do? I'm not getting this.
एक्चुअली आपने ये कोड लिखने के पहले जो आउटपुट था तो एक लाइन में एक प्लेयर था एंड यू हैव वन क्रिकेटर डाउन टू दी
Column
another
was for output.
Backing था.
output was like in a new line.
Okay, okay. You are talking about, I unpacked the value using for loop. Either for loop, we'll talk about for loops. Huh? That is the next topic. So if you say for loop like this, for player in India, correct? Print player. This will print. This will take the players out of Indian. See this one.
Yes, yes. I am talking about this.
So this is basically for loop is for unpacking the values from collection. And you can unpack any collection, okay? Dictionary, list. What we saw is two ways. First one is use subscript that will unpack the value. The second way is use for loop. Use for loops.
I have a question. Say, for example, we are doing some database operations, right? And we want to fetch the data from a database and manipulate it
Mm.
after getting it.
Mm.
Say, I want some set operations to be done. So I decide, okay, let's not use those SQL joins. Server side mein nahi karte. And we get to this. So what is the best approach? Do we load that data into a collection in Python, then manipulate it?
Yes, of course. You'll have to put it into
Will there be a performance hit for that?
Of course, there are overheads because you'll have to put it into a collection. Basically, whenever you read, it has to go inside a collection. Even when you read anything from a file, it goes into a collection. Most of the APIs will automatically return the values within collection.
So what would be faster in this case? For example, say I'm doing a join operation and it's server side on SQL, any database.
Okay.
And if we are doing the same intersect operation over here, right? What would be faster? Say we are operating on 1 gigabyte of data.
Okay.
What would be faster?
I'll have to check it. A good question, but I'll have to check it.
And add on to the Saurav, if we pull that data to collection, would that hamper memory as well, right?
Obviously, there's no
Because
answer.
we are pulling that data into.
But if you want to time your code, then you'll have to time it. You'll have to check. Because you are talking about performance now. So when you talk about performance, you'll have to do the comparison.
Why
It
I'm
is
asking is
tricky.
they are dealing with spatial joints and those spatial joints are very costly on the performance.
Okay.
And if we need to check that what is giving us the best output in terms of handling like 1 to 2 GBs. Suppose sometimes we operate even on 100, 200 GBs of data at a time. The entire country is getting searched for 1 lat long. So that kind of use case. So what should be the best approach to go about it?
Normally, all these APIs will return, things into collection only. That is how it is being done in Python.
But our use case is like we have to fetch data directly from DB, not from API. So it's direct DB to collection.
But DB2 collection is done through API only. You may have some third-party APIs. I'm not.
Okay.
API structure.
Basically, it gets fetched into a collection. Okay. Talking about performance, things are very different. And timing, if you talk about which one is efficient and not, it's tricky. It takes time.
Because anytime if I am getting the same output on database, direct server side, and I am fetching the data and I am populating it, then I'm trying to manipulate. Definitely it
This
will add
actually becomes
overheads.
a project, and you'll have to invest a lot of effort.
Actually, it's a project.
It is a project, and you require people. You have to spend a lot of time on it.
Because we need to think about a parallelization, all those things comes in.
And there are some hidden things also, yeah, you can never,
Need to assign specific
And
memory.
you were mentioning that it does have a multi-threaded library, but doesn't do that quite well.
doesn't, Python का वो downside है. That is the downside. अभी downside का upside भी रहता है, but then वो it is like, क्या बोलते हैं? It is meaningless actually. Because you get one thing and you lose the other thing. You cannot get all things, by the way. No matter what you do. Tricky, whatever you are asking.
Because that is a major use case we will be dealing it with. Because say for example, in intersection, I can do it here, or I can do it on the TV. But I need to get the output the fastest way possible. I can't really wait for entire day for something to process.
Can we have a break?
Yes.
Yes. You can.
Let's go.
Food extends.
11 बज के 9.
Food is.
Yes.
I think we are.
सगळ्यांना मॅट्रिकला बाळवायला. असेल रेकॉर्डिंग करते पाठ करण्यासाठी